Step into the realm of limitless imagination with Beyond the Art, where Indigenous creativity knows no bounds. Join us on a captivating journey through Indigenous art and innovation.
Together, let's delve into the depths of imagination, pushing boundaries with guests from diverse sectors of the Native American art world, each sharing their unique creative vision and inspiring journeys.
Join us for exclusive interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and uplifting stories. Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Beyond the Art. We are Beyond the Art, excited for today's guest, actor, comedian, director, Tai Leclaire. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was just going to say, we're we're pumped to have you on the show. This is really great. Not only have you been making waves on film and television, but also comedy. And yeah, so let's dive in. Headdress has hit Sundance this year, and you wrote, directed, and starred in it, which is huge. What was your inspiration behind this project?
Yeah, honestly, Headdress is a short film I made back in 22 that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 23 and has been on the festival circuit ever since. And the inspiration for it, I just very much wanted to selfishly act in something kind of stupid. And I was just looking to have fun and play these fun, weird characters. In the story, I play 5 versions of myself. And I'm also in a city, hence all the sirens and the audio you're hearing in the background right now. Yeah, but it's... and there they go. Not fans of the film. I'm watching them drive by. There they go.
It happens.
Cool. No, it sort of came from inspiration that I've just experienced a lot growing up, and it's sort of a lane I like to explore, and that's those microaggressions and those acts of casual racism that aren't as overt and aren't as explicit. So yeah, that's sort of the inspiration. That's where I come from with that.
Speaking of comedy, you've performed all over the country, and you're a former house performer at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. Mm-hmm. How has improv background shaped your career, both as a writer and an actor?
Yeah, I encourage everyone, comedy and not comedy, to try improv in a serious way at least once. I just think it's really crucial for team building and just for learning how to really learning how to listen. Mm-hmm. I remember when I first started doing improv and all that over a decade ago, I was surprised at the amount of folks in my early classes that were just like lawyers or doctors or these people that just wanted to sort of up their awkward human interactions, I guess. Yeah, so it shaped a lot of what I do just because it sort of helps you as a performer be less precious with things and really understand that, like, a lot of these things we make, it's sort of, I say it's like, it's all of our baby. Like, if we're making a movie, it's like, it's not just mine, it's all everyone who's working on it. If we're making a web series or a stand-up show, it's sort of like, it's a mixed bag in that sort of setting. I feel like I'm rambling now, but yeah, that's...
Hey, ramble as much as you want and can. No worries. Yeah. We're not limited on time. Well, we know Rutherford Falls was a game changer for you, both as a writer and an actor. Can you tell us what it was like working on that show, such as an incredible team, and how it felt to bring Native stories to a mainstream platform?
Yeah, it was incredibly cathartic to get cast. I was like, oh God, like, okay, like maybe something will pay off. Like, you know, because to work in film and television and entertainment in general, it's such a roll of the dice sometimes. And it's like, you can prepare as much as you can, which no, I do. I'm a student at heart. And to know that as much preparation as you could do, like, it still doesn't guarantee anything. Mm-hmm. So getting Rutherford was perfect. I was so happy about it. To be able to work with Sierra Teller Nellis, who's been in television for over a decade, just doing incredible work. To be with Mike Schur, who, if you're a TV comedy nerd, is like the prince of NBC. And like, and to Ed Helms to also be in that space was it was validating, and as soon as it went from validating to challenging very fast, just because you're like, oh no, like maybe I don't know everything. Yeah, but they were incredible bosses, and they were very much strong leaders in the sense that they also very much cared about writers like myself and the other green new writers to really show us the ropes and to understand that we were in a position they were once in, and to sort of like, once you open that door, keep that door open, then open the door behind you. So yeah, it felt very good. It was also, I got that job like 6 months after I decided to quit my full-time career and switch into comedy and TV. So that was, again, I was prepared for something like that to happen, but half of that happening was luck and just right place, right time. So yeah.
I know with Rutherford Falls, I was in the museum world at that time when that show came out, and that spoke right to my core. And so it was such a brilliant show, those details that were in the writing. So you've been part of some really exciting projects like Super Team Canada and your upcoming short film with Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. How do you balance writing for both comedy and more serious, meaningful projects like Headdress? Is there a difference in how you approach them?
I think it's been said before that, like, and not to hark up people who are just in drama, but like, if you can write comedy, you can write a lot of things. And I'm very much a firm believer in that, like, where it's like, I think get a better understanding of undersense. That's a real word. I'm a writer, I swear. Yeah. I think there's comedy just in everything we do, and especially as Native peoples, just I always say we're the funniest, and it's like, is the correlation between trauma and comedy there? Mm-hmm. And that would make sense why we're pretty freaking funny. But yeah, no, all of that. Again, rambling, but yeah.
Well, let's talk about Sundance, Native Lab, and the Indigenous List, both huge accomplishments. How did those experiences help you grow as a storyteller, and what advice do you have for other Native creators trying to break into the industry and kind of break down that door and that barrier that is still there in so many ways?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the advice first, just because it's right on my mind. But it is apply to everything. Apply to every single thing and publish all your work. Your work makes no sense sitting in a folder on a computer. Your story should be shared regardless of how big the audience. And apply to these programs. Google Movie Studio Plus program. Google Television Network Plus program. There are programs out there specifically for up-and-coming writers, actors, creators, to help harness your voice. And I feel like as a Native person growing up, like, I just didn't know those things existed. I flat out was like, as a kid from a res, just like, you're told you could be a doctor or a lawyer, basically those big fancy TV jobs, like those careers that you hear of. And that's it. And you don't realize that there's so many career avenues in this industry that I even wasn't aware of. And like, before I came into film and television, I worked primarily in fashion and advertising. And even in that space, those things I was like, no one tells me these jobs exist. Like, no one told me when I was 15 that I could be like an art director. Like, I didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
So please, everyone listening, go Google all those studios, those places. More often than not, they have a program. And if you don't get into it, at least you've begun that crucial step of fostering a relationship, which is half, and I feel like another half big part of battle of this industry. It's like, it is true. It's like, you are who you know. So expand the folks that you know. And yeah, so the Sundance Native Lab, the Indigenous List, Sundance, I, much like Rutherford, am indebted to completely for the way my career is starting to shift and shape. They're strong, just advocacy partners, especially with the Indigenous community, and they create these incredible programs focused towards Native talent, and they really let you talk about the stuff you want to talk about. There's no like, oh, it's a Native story, so it's got to be like a leather and feather. It's got to be blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. They really want you to find your voice and to lean into it. So when I was in the program in 2022 in the Native Lab, I went with this 30-minute pilot about these ghosts dealing with racism. And it's a really fun thing. But with the program, you get a grant. And I was just hungry to make. I was just hungry to create something. So during the lab, I was like, hey, this is all super fun. I would love to make this thing down the road. But also, I have this funny little short that's 10 minutes, involves a farting tennis ball and playing myself 5 times. And there was never any no's with them. It was always cool. And what about this? Oh, that's great. And what about this? So they really encourage your individual voice and like to remind Native artists that what you make will always be Native, regardless of like what outside people think is quote unquote Native media. So yeah, it was incredible to be in that program in 22. I was fortunate enough to be a mentor this year for the same program that I was in 2 years ago, and was really excited to be on the other side of the table, only because when I was a mentee, I was so hungry just for as much advice as possible. And some of the best advice I got was from someone who was a mentee 2 years earlier. Just with those logistics of like, okay, you made a movie. How did you do it? How did you do that? And like just being ready with those answers. So I was excited to give back in that way. But again, like I said earlier with that advice, like Sundance has these programs. They have them every year. I didn't get in before. I didn't get into the Screenwriters Lab before. So I've been rejected from Sundance at the same time. And that's also part of the process. But yeah, I think they're just an incredible organization who actually lives up to the shit they say they're going to do. So,
Right.
So kind of along this line, I have to ask, how did you go from being a semi-retired goth to where you are today? I mean, like you've gone from a UCB performer to a Sundance filmmaker. What's that journey been like for you?
Yeah. God, it really has been like if you told me 5 years ago I'd be living in LA looking out a window doing a podcast, I'd be like, that'd be cool, but I don't think it'll happen. Yeah. It's been a real, balancing, trusting my gut and just like managing my anxiety, I guess. I deal with a lot of anxiety. But all these things relate to each other. They're not strangers to each other. So as someone who's trying to like create feature films now, and hopefully I'll sell a TV show and those fun things, but everything I learned in my career before this was detrimental to me getting here. So when I was I was the art director at JCrew for a couple of years. So I was working in-house at a fashion label. And in that job, I learned what EBITDA was. Like I learned learning business terms and stuff like that. And I learned how to make like a PowerPoint deck and learned how to really like sell a message in under 2 minutes. And it's like, so there are aspects from all of my previous jobs and careers that led to where I am now and only improve what I'm doing now because of it. So yeah, it's I've also sort of stopped trying to plan like a 5-year journey. You know what I mean? I'm just leaning into like, okay, I'm here right now. What can I do that's kind of in front of me? And hope for the best with the rest, I guess.
Well, also, Tai, you're a huge advocate for representation, especially for Native voices in comedy and film.
Yeah.
How do you think the industry is evolving, and what more do you think needs to be done?
Yeah. Before we dive into vote, please go vote. I'm just going to say it again. Because even in the industry, outside the industry, we as a community have a lot of power. I'm looking at you, Arizona, Nevada. Anyway. But when it relates to the industry, we're light years ahead of where we were 10 years ago. We are the Emmys was last night. Reservation Dogs was finally nominated for Best Comedy Series, rightfully so. Did not win, unfortunately, but to have that many Indians in an award ceremony like that was incredible. With True Detective Night Country, with Lily Gladstone, with just like to have these multiple categories, multiple people was very validating. And I think a big part of the next step is also going to be ensuring that there are Indigenous people on the other side of it as well. So I'm looking for like more Indigenous studio executives, more Indigenous entertainment lawyers, more Indigenous writers, PAs, crew, that side of things. Because they're there right now. And they're ready to work. So I'm like, yeah, we need to just uplift as many of us as we can.
Right on. To touch back on the comedy side again, what's the funniest moment that you've had on set or stage? You work with a lot of hilarious people. I'm sure you've got a story or two.
Okay.
Or 3 or 4.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think the funniest moment on set was probably Rutherford season 2. We're filming the Adirondack episode where we're making fun of Yellowstone, rightfully so. And just the sheer comedy of seeing all these non-native people on a set wearing like hokey pokey Native American costumes. But it was a joke written by Native Americans for Native Americans. It was very like this weird surrealist meta, like it was like, it didn't make me uncomfortable. It just made me laugh so much at like the absolute surrealism of that visual. And I'm sure there was like, NBCU like tour passing by that was like, what the fuck? But we're like, no, we did this one. Like, it was incredible. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that for my best like TV, best live comedy, funniest live comedy thing. I don't know. It's like I used to perform this character at UCB called Cheyenne Winters, which I'm sort of noodling on to turn into something else right now. But there was something very validating and funny in seeing like a mostly non-native audience laugh at native humor. It was a very strange, weird thing. But I think that's probably the most memorable moment from my time at that theater. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more that are probably far more embarrassing, and they're just blocked out of my brain. So, yeah.
Are you under a non-compete or non-disclosure?
With myself, yes.
Yeah. Well, going a completely different direction, you're a staunch supporter of pineapple on pizza. We have. What's your defense? What's your defense for this? This is a hill that you said you'll die on. Yeah. So let's hear your case.
Yeah, pizza is for everyone. Pizza shouldn't be one thing. Pizza, tomatoes came from us, Italy. You're welcome. Basically, yeah, it's like I'm a staunch unpaid advocate for Little Caesars. I think it's the people's pizza. Can't beat a $5 pie. I have some in my fridge right now. But also, yeah, I think you need something a little different every now and then. And Team Hawaiian Pizza, you want to get real crazy? Throw a maraschino cherry on that. I don't even know what to expect.
Maraschino cherry. Don't know. Pizza, pineapple, yes. Cherries,
It's this weird, like, tropical Christmas. It doesn't make sense, and it does.
I have a family recipe I'm going to share with you offline that incorporates like 2 of those things there.
I'm in.
Magic. Absolute magic. So before, sorry, I'm lost on Christmas.
Pizza.
Yes. Pizza. Let's do it.
As pineapple pizza as well. Yeah. So before we wrap up, we're super excited about your we're super excited about your upcoming projects. Can you give us a sneak peek on what's next for Tai Leclaire?
Yeah, for sure. There are things in the pipeline I cannot discuss yet, which 2025 is going to be very fun. But the one I can talk about right now is my next short with the Warner Brothers Studios and their 100 short film initiative. And again, this is one of those projects that like they just put out a pressing that happened to me on the website when I happened to see it and I happened to apply for it. But it was an incredible film program where me and 5 other BIPOC directors got to reimagine old intellectual property, or AKA IP, which seems to be the only thing executives care about right now. So it was, I got to reimagine The Prince and the Pauper, the Mark Twain story, and sort of referential to the film from the 30s. But I had a lot of fun with it. And it's a very, very, very different film. And it was exciting to shoot on the studio. It was on the lot, and it was exciting to like use the prop house at Warner Brothers. It's the biggest prop house on the West Coast. It was exciting to use just the talent and resources that the studio had to offer. And, as I was directing it, I was like, wow, this is like, it was me, native director, actor, native lead, Ganyet Dio Horn from Res Dogs, native producers, Alex Nystrom and Bird Running Water. And I couldn't recall another time when a project was shot on the lot by Indians, with Indians in it, in all assets, forms, and facets. So that was a little special moment for myself. And we're relating information on the release date, but I will be spamming it. So find me on social media, Tai_Leclaire, and I will not be talking about this film. It's really fun.
So exciting.
Well, I have 2 questions. What are you most surprised about as you step back and reflect upon your journey thus far? That's where you're at and where it's taken you. And for our listeners who want to stay updated on your work, where's the best place to find you and keep track of all these exciting projects like the one you just mentioned, and maybe reiterate your best social media and how to keep up to date with what's going on with Tai?
Yeah, incredible. Again, I'm going to work backwards because I forgot the first question. So social media, Instagram, Tai_Leclaire. It is the only social media platform that I'm on because I am having a disassociative relationship with the internet. And you can go to TaiLeclaire.com to find, I'll be, again, posting and sharing all the goodies in that space. And I did not remember the question. Can you remember the top of the question?
Your journey as you self-reflect. What are you most surprised about?
My gosh. That's so stupid. It's not easy. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. There's a reason everyone's not trying this or doing this. Like, it's genuinely like, I had like $46 in my bank account last month as a 35-year-old man. Like, I'm just sharing that, it's not as, it will have its moments where it's cool. It will have its moments where it's not.
Right.
And both of those things will not be what you think they are. So yeah, it's, I think that was sort of you have no idea how this thing's going to go. And I think It's sort of taking comfort in that part of it, because why even try to figure that out at that point?
So if you have some advice, because we did ask you about advice, what would you say to the younger self, you, or a res kid in South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, daydreaming about being in this industry, being in front of the camera, the back of the camera, or in between? What would be your advice to say what to do? I mean, the time is now for Indigenous Native Americans. Our spotlight's here. I think it's more than just 15 minutes of fame. Mm-hmm. We're not going anywhere. I think it's just going to continue to explode, as we all hope. What would you say to that little 12 or 15-year-old?
Yeah, and this is personal for me, and I hope it is for others, but to stop comparing yourself. Like, comparison is really a joy killer. Comparison is your path is your own. And it genuinely is. And I think the sooner you learn how to walk your own path, you can strengthen it. You can enforce it. You can really make it this brighter, bigger thing. Because for so much of my career, I was always looking to my right, looking to my left. Not celebrating my wins as much as I should have celebrated my wins, because I was too focused on other folks' wins. And and the second I think you get past that is when the better work will start to begin. But it's a really hard thing to get over. And I know it's not specific to just Native kids, but I feel like when you grow up a Native kid, I grew up on a res, you understand resources are limited. You really like, you get that impression that like, oh, well, if they got one Native, they're not going to need another. And it's such bullshit. It's so insane. So yeah, cut it with the comparisons. I think that's my number one thing. Cut it with comparisons, focus on you.
I love that. That's brilliant. Tai, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for being here today. You're doing incredible work from comedy and film, and you're just getting started, which is the best part. Thank you for sharing this journey and your humor with us.
Thank you, Joe. You brought me to North Dakota. So I'm like, you brought me to a state that like I haven't been to before. That was great.
So thank you. Is there anything else you want to add? You want to share? You want to tell us about, or some anecdotes of the life and time of Tai Leclaire?
Oh my. Okay. Give yourself a day off. This world's hard. Take a breather every now and then, folks. I'm gonna after this interview, put on my headphones, draw on my iPad for maybe 2 hours, and just kind of ignore the world. And I cannot wait.
You mentioned that you don't have a 5-year plan, or you live for the now. Is there anything that you can think of that you want to do, that you want to achieve since you've delved into this industry?
Yeah, I would love the opportunity to do as much as possible. Spike Lee is very much a North Star for me. Like, I want to be able to direct a feature film. I want to be able to work in television. I want to direct a fashion spot down the road. Like, I just, that's sort of my North Star with all these things. To be able to work in the industry is insane. And to be able to keep working in the industry is even more insane. And I'm cool with being insane for a little while, I guess.
Well, again, Tai, thank you so much for being on our show. We can't wait to see what's next for you and your films. It's been inspiring to see how you're paving the way for more Indigenous voices in the entertainment industry.
Thank you so much.
And to our listeners, make sure you check out Tai's latest projects and stay tuned for more incredible stories. Until next time, keep laughing and keep creating. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Indigenous art and creativity. Stay inspired and keep exploring with us on Beyond the Arts.
Remember to subscribe and follow us for more exclusive interviews, insightful discussions, and stories that ignite your artistic imagination.
Until next time, continue to unlock your limitless potential with Beyond the Art. Thank you for listening.